Part 30. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 293. The Miller family is deeply obsessed with that secret. But that's right, after all, it is the inheritance of a god. Silver of Order uses authority or domain power to construct an internal circulation system of mysterious power, so it's like this. The sky is bright. Fang Xian, who had completed the soul search, scattered Takmi's spirit casually, so that the last trace of the other party's existence disappeared, and started on his way. He was going to be near the secret place that Ferdinand had discovered. When you get there, after trading with the pocket watch, you can get the complete inheritance of the Warlock Tower. Deduce a brand new 4th level of alchemist content. At that time, in the secret realm, under the gods, I will really be invincible. There is another concern about fleeing in the direction of the secret realm. Although Fang Xian claims to be an expert in destroying corpses and traces, it is not guaranteed that the Miller family has any mystical means to track him down. If it were in the real world, he would definitely not be able to do this kind of noble with the protection of the Golden King. But if it is in the secret realm, it is completely different. Dreamland. Mr. Pocket Watch was fidgeting, and said to a man in a white coat and mask next to him, "Your Excellency Scientist, Your Excellency Crow is coming soon." This scientist is the one who bought the blood of Kyanki. To be able to do this level of research, one's own strength is naturally extraordinary, and it is also at the Golden King level. It's just that he doesn't have much general knowledge, and he's only on the 2nd level in the secret realm, so he doesn't bother to fight for authority, so he doesn't have much reputation. In fact, this is the normal state of Dreamland. In it, it is not known how many kings and silver are hidden. It doesn't matter. You should wait a little longer. The scientist said in a gentle voice. I was about to give up. Calling several friends was a last-ditch effort. I didn't expect Lord Crow to be able to do this. It's beyond my expectation. Not having to compromise is the best result. At this moment, they saw boundless rays of light converging and turning into a figure. It was Fang Xian who had logged in. Lord Crow. Pocket Watch bowed, and introduced, "This is Scientist, who is also the trader this time. It's the first time to meet you, Your Excellency Crow. Thank you for the blood of the Alderan giant tiger, it is very useful for several of my research." The scientist said politely. He has the air of a researcher, not a mystic who specializes in combat. How can such a person become a king? Is it a special kind of advancement? Fang Xian nodded. Everyone takes what they need, let's start trading. The scientist nodded and saw white marble rising all around, forming a circle of private meeting rooms. With a chuckle, he manifested sheets of paper filled with mysterious language and dropped them into Fang Xian's hands. After Fang Xian identified it, he knew that it was indeed the inheritance of the Warlock's Tower. From the first step to the last 5th step, it was very complete. Especially the first 4 stages, like what he got, should not be fakes. Your Excellency really cares for future generations, but this kind of inheritance, as long as you search hard, you can get it. After the scientist completed the transaction, he did not leave, but started talking. Fang Xian smiled. However, it is not so easy to find it urgently. Your Excellency Crow has a lot of general purpose knowledge. The scientist's eyes are hot. I have been studying this for a while. I wonder if you intend to sell it. In fact, what really interested him was the skill the crow used in fighting the giant tiger of Alderan. That can actually cross a large level, making the quenched black iron of the 3rd step rival the silver of order of the 4th step, but it is too ugly to mention this at the beginning. The scientist is also afraid of offending the crow. The other party is so fierce in the secret realm, and it won't be too difficult to kill him in the real world. The same Golden King, there are also differences in strength. Some can. Fang Xian nodded, but did not refuse the request. These were originally the byproducts of his research on De Luo's Tao. Not to mention, in the strange world, and in the last world, he has spread the way of alchemists, so naturally he doesn't mind these things. He still took out the tiger fighting technique and said, "I want to exchange some information with it." Interesting fighting skills, what kind of information do you want? The scientist asked with a smile. About the secret realm discovered by Ferdinand. The secret realm that the Miller family and ghouls are very concerned about. Fang Xian chuckled, as if asking casually. Haha, I really know some news about this secret realm. The scientist replied happily, this secret place is named Columbus Dream, and it has only just been developed, and the Miller family has already purchased most of its property rights from the Roland family. Mr. Ferdinand said this is very angry, and he is not going to hand over the control of the secret realm. And that secret realm is a little different from the secret realms discovered before, with very strange rules, but it is also completely exorcising magic and completely suppressing the mysterious power. The scientist talked eloquently, while Fang Xian secretly wiped off a cold sweat. Fortunately, the Roland family sold the property rights early, otherwise, they would have died without knowing how to get involved in this kind of contention. To be honest, a few friends and I are also a little curious about the secrets hidden in this secret realm. Your Excellency Crow, why don't we work together? The scientist finally suggested. Let me consider it. Fang Xian thought about it, but did not directly refuse. However, I found this proposal to be quite interesting. If the Miller family and the ghouls were fighting for their own interests, and if they brought a group of kings out to pick peaches, the high-level officials on both sides would probably be so angry that they would vomit blood. Moreover, since the scientist dared to snatch it, he must not be afraid of the other party's revenge. That's right, the alliance of several kings, the two of them are only afraid of us, and there is no such thing as retaliation. Fang Xian thought for a while, but still did not tell the information he had obtained. Once the scientist knows that the secret hidden in the dream of Columbus is related to breaking through the top of the tower, then it is unknown how many powerful people and troubles will be attracted. Everyone goes to rob together, how can it be better to eat alone? If I don't break through to the fourth step, then I will cooperate with the scientist. If I break through, no matter how many kings he comes, they will be a dish in the secret realm. Why should we share the secret? The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 294. G Power at 100. Near the secret place of Dream of Columbus. This is a newly opened colony, and there is not even a colonial town. Only Ferdinand established a colonial stronghold, and it has been under martial law recently. He is also very wary of not only the natives, but also the people from the New World, especially the Semborg kingdom. Fang Xian didn't bother to mix in, and just slept in the wild. After finding a stone and sitting cross-legged, a series of prompts appeared on the property bar. I seem to be involved in an incredible vortex again. The gathering of tribulation power is more intense than when it was in the king's feast. But it's useless, my savings are long enough to be promoted to a 4th level alchemist, it's just that I haven't been able to deduce it successfully. Fang Xian was thinking silently, and the contents of the 4th step of the Warlock's tower flowed slowly before his eyes. The Warlock's Silver of Order needs to build its own mystery and become a new source, it's just that I don't want to follow this path completely, just find a reference. With this in mind, Fang Xian summoned the attribute bar and began to comprehend the transcript of the mystery of the cave. Boom! In an instant, he felt that he had lost his body. Fang Xian's consciousness is infinitely high, but it is not soul out of body, suddenly came to a boundless starry sky. Countless nebulae gathered to form a giant eye, watching him silently. Beep! Rustle! Countless noises surged in, containing the knowledge of the infinite celestial universe, which almost exploded Fang Xian. That knowledge is incomprehensible, but it carries crazy power. Fortunately, at this time, he is no longer what he used to be. The tribulation force of the third-level alchemist was running, and he managed to maintain his consciousness without collapsing and going crazy, quietly waiting for the many illusions to pass. I don't know how long the time has passed. The dark universe suddenly collapsed towards the core, condensed into a point, and exploded violently. Fang Xian suddenly felt his consciousness exploded again, turning into countless dust. He kept a line of clarity in his heart, regrouped a little bit of consciousness, and survived the Big Bang. The universe, the starry sky, and the giant eyes immediately dissipated. In the original place, only one book remained. The transcript of Mystery of the Cave. At this time, I have really finished reading it. That giant eye in the starry sky is at least a true God-level existence. One of his believers wrote Dongxianmalu, which has been circulated several times, and there is a copy in my hand, so the content recorded on it may only be the other party's less than 1/10,000th of the strength. Fang Xian stepped forward and opened the first page of the manuscript. A piece of hazy information poured in, and those crazy and delirium content suddenly became understandable. The ancient mysterious language gathered to form a distinguished name. The source of disaster, the vortex of the starry sky, the great eye of doom. Real world. Fang Xian panted heavily and suddenly woke up. On his left cheek, a bloody opening was opened, and a tongue stuck out, and he was about to pronounce the real name uncontrollably. Give me back. Pressing with his left hand, Fang Xian used his own mysterious power to finally stuff the tongue back, control the blood, and let the bloody mouth heal. The next moment, densely packed eyes suddenly appeared on his hands, and he kept looking around. Strange power, terrible pollution. This is still separated by countless worlds. If it was in that world, I would probably have died, or turned into a lunatic or a monster. But, I have finally grasped a trace of the domain power of this great being, misfortune. Fang Xian looked at the property bar. What I want to promote is definitely not the fourth step of the Warlock's Tower, nor the path of the giant eye, but a new branch I deduced, maybe it can be named Doom. Doom Warlock. This is also the fourth level of the alchemist's path. Master a trace of domain or power. Thinking of this, Fang Xian no longer hesitated, and shouted, promotion. In an instant. In his body, the surging mysterious blood gathered somewhere in his body. It was a space that was both inside him and not inside him. The mysterious power formed a cycle, which seemed to give birth to a new source of mystery. It's just that this circle is very fragile, and it seems that a little external force will be broken. Doom. Fang Xian muttered silently, using a bit of authority in the domain of bad luck. A layer of grey light emerged, impregnated with the reincarnation of mysterious power, and merged with the unstable source of mystery. In the space, a grey star slowly rises. In the real world, the eyeballs and bloody mouth on his body disappeared at once, as if suppressed by some mysterious force. Successful. Fang Xian came back to his senses and looked at the brand new attribute bar. Name, Fang Xian, Daniel Roland. Occupation, Doom Warlock, 4th step. Alchemy talent, Danger Premonition, Physique Strengthening, Invisible Skin, Animal Affinity, Soul Out of Body, Man of Steel, Blood Manipulation, Domain of Doom. Taoism, Martial Arts, Weird. Reincarnation, can be opened. Field of Misfortune? Sure enough, at the 4th level of Alchemist, all the power involved is related to concepts. I can feel that I am not in charge of Doom, but just possess a trace of power in the domain of Doom. I can give or take back Doom, but the magnitude is very slight, probably making people sneeze or fall the degree of a fall. This level of bad luck can't even kill ordinary people. But Fang Xian's eyes sparkled. The field of doom is not used in this way. If a mage sneezes while reciting a spell, or a warrior falls while charging, what will happen? Or the curse master and the clergy, when depicting the ceremony, drew a wrong symbol with trembling hands, and mispronounced the honorable name? This is probably very fatal. Moreover, being able to make one's enemies suffer from bad luck from time to time is a miraculous ability that can bring them a lot of trouble. Not to mention, the mastery of the domain of doom can be further deepened. When the time comes to fully control doom, perhaps with just one look from me, the Transcendent will lose control of his own mysterious power, and unluckily start to lose control. At the same time, outside Stormfish Harbor, Special Branch Detective Jimmy has found the scene where Takumi was killed. A mysterious person pretended to be Takumi Miller's coachman and took him to the outskirts to take advantage of the opportunity. He looked at the damaged carriage not far away, as well as the traces on the ground and the corpse, and made a judgment. The ability is very strong, but it should not have been promoted to the fourth step, otherwise it would not be so troublesome. At this moment, he heard the noise of the sheriff outside. "Stop, what are you going to do? We are members of the Miller family, we have to participate in this matter." A young man pushed the sheriff away and walked in arrogantly. "My profession is a stalker. In this respect, I am more professional than you." Jimmy's face suddenly became very ugly. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 295. Captain, is this how we look at it? A few minutes later, Jimmy stepped aside, watched the young people of the Miller family prepare for the ceremony, and asked the captain next to him very dissatisfied. The captain of the special department was middle-aged and ordinary-looking, and he just smiled when he heard the question. After all, the Miller family is a noble of the kingdom, and this is a new continent, and even His Majesty the King has to admit that extraordinary people have greater. Besides, Matt Miller is indeed an excellent stalker with the ability to find the murderer. Tracker is a special occupational inheritance, somewhat similar to hunter, but hunters only strengthen their five senses, and can track through some tiny traces, smells, etc. left in the real world, while tracker is you can also use the power of mysterious rituals. The murderer was very cautious and erased all traces. After a while, Matt stood up with a sneer on the corner of his mouth. "But it's useless, I can also use the power of the ritual to track him down with the blood of the Millers. Takumi is a blood warlock after all. After death, the bloodline will mark the enemy, and he will definitely." Matt looked at the ceremony in front of him, and without hesitation, he lit the candles and threw a few spells. "Hound of the Void. The existence of chasing blood. I offer sacrifices to you." Accompanied by the sound of Matt chanting, above the ritual, the void fluctuated faintly, and translucent hounds emerged. "This is the Void Hound, best at tracking. Conclude a contract with you, and pursue for me, the blood grievance, the Achu." Every movement of Matt is very standard, but when he is about to say the final goal, his nose itch, an irresistible impulse suddenly emerges. He swallowed everything and sneezed hard. Jimmy. The rest of the Miller family members. Amidst the dull expressions on everyone's faces, those void hounds escaped into the void and pounced violently. "What?" A piercing scream came. Matt fell to the ground, a piece of flesh missing from his thigh, as if he had been bitten by some invisible monster. Immediately, more wounds emerged on his body. This is because the contract was not concluded in time, and it was backlashed by the ceremony. The middle-aged captain of the special department was startled, and then murmured, "The car overturned at the scene of the mysterious ceremony. Haven't seen it in how many years? Logically speaking, only rookies would do this, but rookies don't have access to advanced rituals. This kind of ceremony that will never have any accidents. Once an accident occurs, the consequences will be extremely tragic." "Ah!" Matt yelled and rolled on the ground. Some members of the Miller family hurried forward, and finally teamed up to expel the Void Hounds. But at this time, Matt was seriously injured, and even his nose was bitten off. Not only that, under his skin, sarcomas emerged one by one, wriggling and proliferating. "He's going out of control." A miller quickly shouted, "Quick, help him together." "What?" Fang Xian was wearing a shirt and jeans. When he walked near the Dream of Columbus, he suddenly felt something was wrong. "My doom field moved just now. My enemy is unlucky? But a little misfortune shouldn't kill anyone, right? The location of the entrance to the secret realm is variable. It may be on the mainland, it may be in the ocean, and it is more likely to be in the sky or underground." After stepping on the spot during this period of time, he probably guessed the entrance of the Dream of Columbus, so he was going to explore first. The entrance to the secret realm should be inside that colonial stronghold, guarded by Ferdinand, a genius navigator and explorer. He must also be an extraordinary person. Maybe he has a fourth step, otherwise he would have died a long time ago. It has to be said that the fate of this genius navigator is also a bit tragic. Originally, with Ferdinand's strength and the kingdom's decree, it is not a big problem to master a secret realm. However, the benefits involved in this secret realm are too great, and it has attracted the attention of all parties. Even if he is the Golden King, he may not be able to sustain it. Fang Xian sighed, activated invisible skin, and his figure gradually faded. When he came outside the stronghold, Danger Premonition felt something different. Under the gravel, there were black beetles one by one, forming a second wave of surveillance outside the patrol team. If it weren't for animal affinity, I'm afraid I would be discovered immediately. After manipulating some of the beetles and getting out of the way, Fang Xian took a run up, took off lightly, easily climbed up the fence, turned over and entered the stronghold. The colonial stronghold is the initial stage of a small town, only the size of a village, and it is completely a military fortress. Along the way, Fang Xian only saw colonists carrying muskets, and almost no children or women. In the very center of the stronghold, there is a square with black steps more than 10 meters high. An oval-shaped blue light door that emits infinite light is suspended in mid-air, like a mirror, reflecting various phantoms of another world. The entrance to the secret realm cannot be moved, there is no other way. When Fang Xian saw the secret realm, he had only one thought in his mind. That is to rush in. In the outside world, he is a silver of order, and he will kneel when he comes to gold. But in the secret realm, if you come to a dozen golden kings, he can kill them all at this time. As long as all the competitors disappear, the secrets in the secret realm can only belong to him. Relying on the advantage of invisibility, Fang Xian swaggered past several teams of patrols and came to the black steps. Click. Just as he stepped on the first step of the black steps, there was a crisp sound. Fang Xian was shocked to find that his invisible skin had lost its effect. A range-type ceremony? Or is there something wrong with these stones? Fang Xian didn't take it seriously, he just quickened his pace, and rushed up amidst countless screams and gunshots. Bang bang. The sound of musket firing continued, most of which fell in the empty space, and occasionally a few stray bullets fell on him, which were also blocked by the steel body, splashing sparks. With a stride, he jumped onto the high platform, and saw a middle-aged sailor with a beard and a sailor uniform standing up and punching him right in front of him. On his bare chest and the back of his arms was a circle of thick black hair, making him look like a gorilla. Warrior? No. Not at all. Fang Xian felt the sound of waves coming from all directions, and the air seemed to turn into viscous sea water, squeezing himself, making him unable to escape, and could only meet the fist head-on. Master of boxing? An idea came to his mind, and he directly used the ability of Field of Misfortune. The charging master of boxing suddenly slipped on the soles of his feet, and seemed to lose his center of gravity. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 296. The master of boxing was about to lose his center of gravity. But the next moment, his feet swayed with strange steps, and he managed to maintain his balance in an instant. After all, he is a sailor who often lives on the deck. Coupled with his extraordinary physical fitness, this is just a basic skill. That fist went unabated and came to Fang Xian. Fang Xian raised his right hand upright, like an iron wall, blocking this attack. At the same time, he grabbed the master of boxing with his left hand. After being promoted to Silver of Order, his various abilities have been improved, especially the warlock's job ability of blood manipulation. Even though there were no wounds on the master of boxing, his skin turned red, his pores dilated, and drops of blood seeped out. "Warlock!" the master of boxing exclaimed, but did not retreat. Fang Xian suddenly felt a force coming from the palm of his hand, which was extremely penetrating, and wanted to ignore his body's defenses and attack his internal organs. Shocking! This is a special ability mastered by the master of boxing. It is designed to break through some creatures with strong surface defenses and directly attack the internal structure. Fang Xian took a step back, the blood in his body changed automatically to protect the internal organs. At the same time, his body swelled a lot. Violent. The little iron giant put its 5 fingers together, avoided the follow-up attack of the master of boxing, and landed a punch on his chest. Click. The boxing master took a few steps back, his face was full of horror. What a strong fighting force, what a wealth of fighting experience. Who are you? He didn't know. After all, Fang Xian was the supreme figure in the martial arts world, and he was really not afraid of anyone in close combat. At this time, he didn't speak, and made a move with his right hand. Puff! To the guards rushing up the steps. The guards at the front let out a scream, and streams of blood were sucked out of their bodies, gathering into dark red bombs and falling around the master of boxing. Not good. The boxing master paused and turned to retreat, but seeing Fang Xian's mocking expression, he said, "Explosive." Boom! Boom! A series of small explosions immediately formed on the stone platform, blasting the building into pits and cracks. After forcing the boxing master back, Fang Xian jumped directly towards the entrance of the secret realm in mid-air. Puff! At the moment when he was about to enter the secret realm, infinite wind blades appeared all around, cutting them. Fang Xian was fearless, there was a crackling sound from his body, and he crashed into the secret realm. Really? A mere 4th step, what protection can be found? With my defense, I can still rush in. Fang Xian fell into a secret place and let out a hearty laugh. Although his body was dripping with blood, the blood quickly rushed back to the wound, leaving only a red film. Until then, he was free to look at the surrounding environment. The surroundings were dim, and the outlines of buildings could be vaguely seen. In the sky, there was a group of colorful illusory scenes, constantly casting light. However, no matter how the environment changes, on the attribute bar, the 4th tier Doom Warlock profession still shines brightly, representing his strength, and he is still standing firmly at the Silver of Order stage without any decline. Its other symbols, there are a few looming, strange. Fang Xian stared at the 2 columns of weirdness and martial arts, and found that although there is no spiritual energy in this world, it seems that it can be refined into true qi, and even use weird abilities. It's just that this kind of feeling comes and goes quickly, and there are some feelings that are sometimes ineffective. Why are the rules of this world fragment so strange? No, maybe it wasn't a piece, rather, a secret realm formed by the reintegration of several fragments of different worlds. In Fang Xian's heart, a guess slowly emerged. But whatever, even if martial arts and strange abilities are useless, with my Silver of Order magician ability, I can push all the way. If there is no existence on the top of the tower, no one will be my opponent. I don't know if this fight will attract the attention of that kind of existence. Fang Xian didn't know that his intrusion into the secret realm seemed to trigger a signal, which led to battles breaking out in the colonial strongholds outside. Before, it was everyone's default that Ferdinand had the ability to protect the secret realm. The Miller family forbeared it, and the gourmets even hid in the dark. Everyone is just waiting for an opportunity. Now, Ferdinand has proved that he has lost the ability to protect the secret realm, and those who can take over immediately jumped out. Ferdinand, according to the agreement, more than half of your income in the New World belongs to our Miller family. Why are you still fighting? A platinum-haired nobleman, with a large group of extraordinary people from the Miller family, came leisurely outside the stronghold and confronted Ferdinand. Open the secret realm immediately, we request to track down the infiltrator and recover the loss. This is to protect shareholders' interests. Claremont, you don't need to lie to me. I know that the infiltrator must be from your Miller family. You always like to find excuses for your shameless behavior. Ferdinand, who was dressed as a sailor, cursed angrily. Before you entered a group of people, it was not enough, and now you have to take over the management by force. I must apply to the Kingdom Court for arbitration. He knew that he couldn't compete with the Miller family in terms of ownership, and could only make a fuss about management rights. This is the blind spot of the previous contract. Moreover, as long as enough time is bought and he discovers enough benefits, it is not impossible to give up a secret realm. But before that, nothing must be budged. Ferdinand, there are still some formalities that have not been completed on the kingdom's side. Do you really think you can make the decision? Claremont showed a mocking smile on his face, and took out a warrant with the signature of the governor of the colony on it. Seal, starting today, this place belongs to our Miller family completely. I warn you to evacuate the property belonging to the Miller family within an hour, otherwise I have the right to kill you. Damn it! Ferdinand clenched his fists, but he didn't dare to move. He also knew that he was no match for the Miller family, and the only thing he could rely on was the support of the Kingdom Development Act. But now, with the governor's warrant, there is no hope. The governor of the colony, the authority over the colony, is no different from the king. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. On the high platform at the entrance of the secret realm, figures appeared out of thin air, with the majesty of a king on their bodies, causing the surrounding militiamen to kneel on the ground unconsciously. Teleportation ability. Gold King. They glanced at Claremont, without saying a word, and directly entered the secret realm. The next moment, the colors of blood red and rust surged, and another group of clerics from the Narnia Empire arrived and entered the secret realm. Wave after wave of these people, hundreds of people entered in one breath, which made Claremont stunned. Immediately, there was deep grief and indignation. This is the secret place of our Miller family. What do you think of it? A stagecoach. Seeing this scene, Ferdinand suddenly felt much better. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 297. Fang Xian covered up his appearance as early as when he came to step on the spot. At this time, walking in the secret place called Columbus Dream, I feel very relaxed. Danger premonition. After looking around, there is no creature that can threaten him. Where he is a dilapidated city. Occasionally, some bones can still be seen, but there are no living things. Fang Xian suddenly felt a kind of sadness. The city in this fragment of the world, I don't know what kind of civilization was bred, and why was it destroyed? Why do fragments of several different worlds merge together? He felt that the water in this secret realm was very deep. However, the place where the secrets on the top of the tower can be buried, the water is not deep. If it weren't for the fact that the true God couldn't move lightly, maybe there are gods coming. After Fang Xian searched the city, he was about to change places. As soon as he walked out of the city, he saw a group of ghouls crawling over on all fours, drooling, in the darkness. There were at least dozens of them. Gourmet association? Fang Xian frowned, looking at a figure surrounded by many ghouls. Stranger, what did you find in the city? A well-dressed young man in a white tuxedo came out and said calmly, tell me everything, and I can make your death less painful. As a fourth-tier gourmet, the Lord of Gluttony, he has enough arrogance to say this. Although weakened a lot by the secret realm, he can still control many low-level ghouls and form a siege. Moreover, even if the tyrannical body itself is weakened, it is still equivalent to a second-tier fighter. This combination of means made him not afraid even if he met the king. I just said that Ferdinand guarding the gate must be like a broken sack. Others can get in if they want. Fang Xian secretly complained. Looking at the handsome ghoul again, I forgot to tell you, I hate you disgusting guys. Nausea. The young man's expression changed, flesh and blood surged under his skin, as if something terrible was about to break through. I will taste you slowly. No need. Fang Xian made a move. Puff. Puff. Those ghouls exploded like tomatoes one by one. The thick blood surged, flowing in mid-air, turning into a long blood-red river. The fourth step? Impossible. The handsome young man constricted his pupils, turned around and ran away. This may be an existence beyond Golden King. But such an existence, why come here? No, in the information, there is no such a target that needs to be paid close attention to. His hands and feet suddenly became extremely thick, and the bones in his mouth protruded. He turned into a half-giant ghoul and was about to flee the scene. But it's too late. Streams of blood formed scarlet chains, bound its limbs, and hung it up in large characters. With the strength of the fourth level, it is crushing against the ghouls of the second level at most. Great existence, please forgive my offense. The ghoul made a difficult voice, I have a lot of information, confidential information. It's late, compared to your testimony, I prefer to interrogate your spirit body. Fang Xian made a move. A blood-colored spear landed in the palm of his hand, and he threw it lightly. Puff. The bloody spear pierced through the ghoul lord, taking away all his vitality. Fang Xian beckoned again, and a spirit body was pulled out from the corpse, ready to answer any questions. In the secret realm, how many strong men have come? Fang Xian asked casually, don't talk about those under silver. There are Prince Marvin of the Narnia's Empire, Haman the Arcanist of the Kingdom of Sandberg, the president of our Gourmet Association, the ancestor of the Miller family, William Miller. The spirit body in the form of a young man answered in an ignorant manner. What is the inheritance in the secret realm? This, only the president knows. 10 minutes later, Fang Xian snuffed out the spirit body, chose a direction, and continued to explore. Unexpectedly, the situation here has become more complicated, with so many forces involved. Maybe there are gods who have sent oracles in the dark. I now suspect that if someone gets an inheritance or treasure and walks out of the secret realm, they will be immediately besieged. With the help of this Gourmet Association member, Fang Xian was able to exclude the area he had inspected and choose another direction. After wandering around for a few days, Fang Xian finally felt that something was wrong. This is an ordinary secret realm, there is nothing particularly eye-catching, except, it. Fang Xian raised his head, looked at the colorful illusory scene, and suddenly understood, is it a dream? This secret realm is a fusion of different world fragments. Some places are suitable for performing martial arts, while others admit strange abilities. At this time, Fang Xian was not polite, and saw that on the attribute bar, the strange symbols lit up one by one. All this represents his ability as the king of weirdness. In particular, once mastered the weirdness related to dreams. At this time, when the thought moves, the body becomes illusory, floats up, and actively enters the dreamland. This feeling is somewhat similar to dreamland. Did I enter the dream as a physical entity? In a dark square, Fang Xian hadn't stood firm when an attack came suddenly. The cold spear pierced his chest like a poisonous snake. "Don't make trouble." With a flick of his hand, he grabbed the point of the spear and held it in his hand before looking at the attacker. A Narnian appearance, princely attire, a broad forehead, and bright eyes. Prince Marvin of Narnia's. A legendary warrior of the gold rank? Fang Xian asked. "Who are you?" Prince Marvin looked a little puzzled. The next moment, he saw the man wearing the bird beak mask turn his spear and stab straight at him. Just as Ma Wen wanted to dodge, he felt the blood rushing in his body, and his expression couldn't help but change. Puff! The black spear with majestic power turned into a bolt of lightning, pierced straight through his proud legendary body, and nailed him to the square. Fang Xian was always not polite to those who attacked him. At this time, the chaotic situation in the square suddenly became dead silent. The fourth ladder. After a long time, an old man wearing a strange magic robe looked at Fang Xian with a look of disbelief on his face. "These golden kings can play up to the third step in the secret realm, and when they encounter the Silver of Order, it is a massacre." The old man looked at Fang Xian, and suddenly thought of something, with a hint of surprise on his expression. "You are Lord Crow. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 298. The Scientist. Fang Xian looked at this excited old man, and matched up with a certain guy in his memory. "Unexpectedly, Your Excellency Crow really came." The scientist said excitedly. "Haman, the arcanist of the Kingdom of Forest Castle, salutes you." Fang Xian nodded, scanned around, and found 4 groups of people in the square. The first wave was people from the Narnia's empire, mixed with a large number of priests and iron lords, glaring at him, which is understandable. After all, he killed a prince of the other party. In addition, a group of platinum-haired guys gathered together, which should be members of the Miller family, headed by William Miller. There are also a few high-ranking ghouls and controlled dependents, as well as Haman and a few friends. Before, they were fighting. "What are you fighting for?" Fang Xian looked around, chuckled, and asked directly. As a boss of the 4th step, he really doesn't have to worry too much in front of a group of 2nd and 3rd steps. The environment of the secret realm is too special. Even if it is an extraordinary item from the outside world, it will lose its effect here. Unless, it's at the artifact level. But there are not many such treasures in the whole world. It's for the supreme agreement. Haman smiled wryly and replied. At this time, Fang Xian also saw the gray-white side in the middle of the square, with interlaced ravines on the surface, which seemed to be a stone tablet that had been washed away by a long time. Is it the supreme agreement? Fang Xian didn't care about anything else, and asked directly, "What's the use?" "It's not a divine weapon, but it's even more precious than a divine weapon. It's said that if someone extraordinary can control it, they can get rid of the shackles and become a great existence on the top of the tower." Haman replied frantically, "At the same time, its greatest effect. It's still a notarization and a contract, even the gods can't violate it. Your Excellency Crow, please help our Miller family. This is our private property. If you are willing to help us, the Miller family will become your eternal friends. You can choose the reward from the treasure house." William Miller looked at Fang Xian, with some pleading in his voice. "Return yours." This was originally the property of the Roland family. Fang Xian rolled his eyes in his heart, and looked at the clergy of the Narnia's empire and the group of ghouls. "You have become an enemy of the empire and will be punished by our Lord unless you wash away your sins with great merit." A guy who looked like a bishop made a very clever statement, but in fact he made a condition secretly. "A gold-level prince died in vain, the royal family is so miserable." Fang Xian shook his head secretly. GG, how could this strong man be afraid of the iron-blooded lord? Gods of that level can't enter the secret realm at all, otherwise they will blow up this place and let everyone get nothing. The president of the Gourmet Association, a handsome gluttony king with dark red pupils, said with a strange smile. You guys are annoying. Fang Xian said in a low voice, what I like is mine. Hearing this sentence, the Miller family, the ghouls, and the clergy were all stunned. It seems that this mysterious strong man is so greedy. Fang Xian stepped out and walked towards the center of the square. The people around were just watching, but none of them dared to make the first move. After all, the gap between the third step and the fourth step can hardly be made up by the number of people. Fang Xian came to the center of the square, looked at the stone tablet of the Supreme Agreement, and his expression suddenly changed. On its surface, there are already a lot of traces like knives and axes, and it seems that it will disintegrate in the next moment, but Fang Xian knows that its essence is extremely tough. More importantly, the messy traces seem to be trying to cover up a certain mark. If he didn't get close and observe carefully, he wouldn't even notice it. This mark is very familiar. It is composed of an inverted triangle and a ring of Ouroboros. It is the symbol of dreamland. It has something to do with it again? Fang Xian became interested, and stretched out his right hand, ready to touch the steel. Do it. Seeing this scene, the clergy of the Narnia Empire finally couldn't bear it anymore, and the bishop took out a talisman from his bosom. The carrier of this talisman is a piece of iron, and there are traces of rust and blood soaking on the surface. As soon as it was taken out, it carried a dangerous atmosphere, and it seemed that it was not suppressed by the secret realm. In other words, after being weakened, it is still very terrifying. It's a spell bestowed by the gods. Hyman let out an exclamation. Only items involving true gods can exert a certain effect in the secret realm. Next moment, a mass of crimson with a dark light enveloped the members of the Gourmet Association. Before the president could say anything, he looked at his body. His incomparably powerful ghoul body melted like a wax figure at this moment, melting bit by bit, leaving a pool of disgusting pus on the ground. This group of ghouls perished directly under the attack of the god's spell. Bishop Heigl. The clergy next to him looked at the bishop very strangely, not understanding why he attacked the people from the Gourmet Association. Although the two sides are also enemies, isn't the bigger target at this time the crow? A palpitating power, Your Excellency Crow can actually manipulate the dream and divert this attack. A surprised expression appeared on Haman's face. No. It's not so much a diversion of the attack, but a direct misleading of Heigl's senses. He thought he was attacking the crow, but he was actually attacking the Gourmet Association? Manipulate dreams. This is a weird ability. Annoying ants, you should leave. Fang Xian raised his head and looked up at the sky. Bits of black drizzle fell, covering the clergy of the Narnia's empire and members of the Miller family. Then, what is that? Wraith. A member of the Miller family stared at an open space in horror, and suddenly stretched out his hands, strangled his neck, and pinched himself until his face was purple. The other member just glanced down, as if some killing pattern had been triggered. The neck was broken, and the body fell down. Your Excellency, why are you targeting us? William Miller said angrily, while commanding the family members, quick retreat. Unfortunately, it's too late. He didn't know when he saw a dense darkness emerged around him. From the darkness, mutilated figures came out one by one, surrounding him. Suddenly, a charred figure took a step forward and came to William Miller, almost face to face with him. It's a curse. William Miller is the king of gold in the outside world, and his own personality alone is enough to easily suppress this curse. But now, he was too weak, so weak that he could be killed by the simplest curse. The charred figure suddenly reached out to him. The curse broke out. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 299. It seems that the extraordinary people on the second and third steps may not be able to withstand the curse. Seeing the death and disappearance of the Miller family and the clergy of the Narnia Empire one after another, Fang Xian nodded secretly. The strange curse was very unsolvable. The top ones even involve time, space, and the law of cause and effect. Even if silver and gold level transcendence meet, they may not necessarily survive. Arcanist Haman was trembling all over. What did he see? Your Excellency, the crow actually killed all the members of the Narnia's empire and the Miller family. No scruples at all about the impact and consequences. If it is publicized, the fall of several golden kings and dozens of silver of order will definitely be a shocking case that will shake the mysterious world. Losing so many high-level leaders at once, those forces may not be able to accumulate even if they accumulate for decades. And Crow will become the number one on the most wanted list of the empire and the kingdom. For Fang Xian, this is a matter of course. I have already killed a prince of the empire, can I still kneel down and beg for forgiveness? As for the Miller family, there is also a grudge, and of course the enemies must all be killed. Your Excellency Crow, you. Seeing Fang Xian's gaze, Hyman couldn't speak clearly. Don't worry, I didn't lose control and become a monster who only knows how to kill. Fang Xian showed a self-conscious smile, which almost scared the people behind Haman to death. However, I am going to stay here and study the Supreme Agreement carefully. He continued. We'll take our leave now and don't bother your Excellency. Haman answered quickly, for fear that he would be killed by the crow if he took a step too late. Before leaving, he turned his head. Your Excellency Crow, you are almost invincible in the secret realm. But when you go out of the secret realm, please be careful. He stepped into a portal and disappeared. In a blink of an eye, only Fang Xian and a pile of corpses remained in the huge square. When you walk out of the secret realm. He touched his mask, and laughed at himself. Could it be possible to be ambushed, or even attacked by a god descending into the world? I already guessed. It has to be said that since the reincarnation disc was fully charged and the Loto reincarnation could be opened, Fang Xian has become a lot more sloppy. After all, he came to this world to find the inheritance of the fourth step, and now his purpose has been completed. Even if you leave directly, there is no loss. But now, let's study the Supreme Agreement. Fang Xian stretched out his hand, and this time no one came to stop him, allowing him to touch the surface of the Supreme Agreement. A desolate, ancient feeling suddenly emerged. Strange breath. Fang Xian muttered, suddenly feeling something was wrong. He saw the dreamland in front of his eyes again, and saw the white jade pillar shining brightly. A line of information emerged and turned into a meaning he could understand. It is detected that the person with the second authority has contacted the core components. Do you want to start the single-person trial? It's no wonder that there is a symbol of your land on the Supreme Agreement, so it is also a part of your land, or core. With a thought, Fang Xian chose to open it. In an instant, his eyes became absent-minded, his consciousness lifted into the sky, and he entered the dreamland. In the center of the white marble square, white jade pillars roared, and a beam of light rose into the sky. Mercury raised his head, looked at this scene, and couldn't help being very surprised. This is the vision of the start of the battle for authority. Impossible, it just started. No, it didn't guide us. Another Dreamland member exclaimed. Many members looked at each other in blank dismay, knowing that something must have happened to Dream Township. It's a pity that they can't do anything about it, even the king can only watch. Baiyuzhu, privilege list. I don't know how many members flocked to Baiyuzhu like crazy, wanting to watch the changes of the marks. This time, it was a solo trial, that is to say, Fang Xian was the only tester. When Fang Xian came back to his senses, he found that he had come before the dream ladder. I don't have to go through the previous trek, so it's a preferential treatment for me. With a chuckle, he stepped up the winding stairs. Before, Fang Xian was considered to be the third step of De Luo, and he could walk to the end of the stairs and see the white sun at the top. At this time, it is naturally more relaxed. He took one step at a time. The speed was not very fast, but very even. In a blink of an eye, he reached his original limit. Fang Xian chuckled and stepped over. It's Lord Crow. Before Baiyuzhu, Shuiyan was already stupid. This Your Excellency is challenging the authority of Dream Town. How did he do it? He must have mastered the deeper secrets of Dream Town. Suddenly, the crowd dispersed and three figures appeared. It's Dancer, Wisdom, and Your Excellency Crafter. Seeing these three, Shuiyan unconsciously moved out of the way. He knew that these three kings must be in a very bad mood. Suddenly, the crowd let out an exclamation. When Mercury looked up, he was astonished to see that the mark of the crow, which was originally ranked second, had risen straight up, brazenly surpassing the original first, Your Excellency the Craftsman. At this time, Fang Xian was already standing at the end of the dream ladder, looking directly at the ball of white light. Within the light cluster, a door has become extremely clear. On the surface of the door, there is also the emblem of Dreamland. Standing in front of the gate, Fang Xian hesitated a little. Although Dreamland is a treasure, it may not be a trap. If it was me before, maybe I still need to hesitate a bit, but now I don't have to. At most, I will die once, and continue to reincarnate. He shook his head and laughed, pressing his hands on the door with a little force. Boom! Amidst the shock that spread to the entire dreamland, the door suddenly opened. Endless white rays of light surged out, drowning Fang Xian in an instant. When he came back to his senses, he found that he had reached a palace. There are towering white marble columns all around, but there is nothing in the center, which looks extremely empty. Directly ahead, there are 12 steps, surrounded by countless lights, surrounding a stone seat at the highest point. What is this? Let me inherit a throne. Fang Xian sneered and walked up the steps. This white throne is simple in shape, with the Dreamland logo on the back of the chair, as if it is waiting for something. Fang Xian thought for a while, but instead of sitting on it, he just stretched out his hand and touched the white throne. In an instant, endless information poured in, making him understand that his authority had once again increased. No, it's not an increase in permissions, but a modification. He directly modified the root, making him the true owner of Dreamland. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 300. Dreamland is indeed a great creation. After a long time, Fang Xian stroked the white throne and sighed faintly. The functions explored by those members of the outside world are not its real abilities at all. The truly frightening thing about Dreamland lies in the teleportation across the world. It can be said that it is somewhat similar to the Lord God's space in the previous life. This is also a great power. As for the others, it's just a small section. But even these subsections are also very scary. After becoming its owner, I can take advantage of the shelter of Dreamland to make all the divination and prophecy in this world invalid for me. In addition, it can also form a projection in the real world, bringing the suppression in the secret realm. It can be seen as actively releasing the realm of absolute magic, or even, the kingdom of God. After possessing this ability, even in the real world, Fang Xian is no longer afraid of Golden King. Finally, it is a low-level application of teleportation between different worlds, which allows me to teleport freely in this world and bring real matter into the Dreamland, and, to view all member information, kick or pull people at will. The power of man. Fang Xian couldn't help being a little fascinated. If he opens up the ability to bring in real items to members, Dream Township will be the next Lord God's space. The importance to the mystical world is unquestionable. However, the Dreamland is incomplete, and the most important thing at this time is Fang Xian looked down and seemed to see the stone tablet of the supreme agreement in the secret realm. He knew that this was the core component of Dreamland, and if he didn't get it back, Dreamland would be teleported in this world at most, and it would be impossible to send people to a different world. Thinking of this, Fang Xian stretched out his hand. He found that he didn't know when, even his body had entered the Dreamland. At this time, the palm seemed to have crossed the boundary between reality and illusion, came to the Dreamland, and grabbed the gray-white Supreme Agreement stone tablet. In the next moment, the steel suddenly disappeared from the secret realm, and came to the Dreamland, the throne hall. Groups of pure white light fell down, and the stone tablet seemed to be rooted in the ground, blending with the hall, and the surface became bright and clean. The mark of the triangle and the ring became extremely clear at once. Contract, notarization, teleportation to another world. Fang Xian silently felt the new abilities of Dreamland, and couldn't help but sigh. There is no information left by the creator, is it deleted on purpose? Also, the so-called mastery of the Supreme Agreement, you can break through the secret on the top of the tower? Why not? Are you kidding me? He has received the inheritance of the Tower of Warlocks, and after fully comprehending the Dongxian secret transcript, he has deduced the 4th level of Alchemist's Way. Even the 5th level has some eyebrows. But as for how to break through to become a hidden existence above the top of the tower, they still have nothing to learn. This time, the fight for the Supreme Agreement is also for this reason. At this time, I couldn't help being a little confused. Perhaps, the rumors mean, after obtaining the highest agreement and mastering the Dreamland, you can travel around the world and explore the way of Deludo. Is this the secret of becoming the top of the tower? Fang Xian rubbed his chin, he could only make such a guess. Warlocks want to be promoted to Golden King, the condition of fate is to create a brand new blood group. For me, this condition is even more stringent, but there is no need to be persistent in completing the task, as long as it has enough influence, or, world correction is enough. The best way is through Dreamland. As soon as he thought about it, scenes appeared before his eyes. Since his ascent, Dreamland has been in great commotion. Many hidden Silver of Order and King of Gold chose to quit, or even delete their account. After all, they vaguely guessed that Dreamland had a brand new owner, and they didn't want to be shackled. And if left unchecked, this trend will continue to expand. Let me take a look. 27, now there are 24 Golden Kings, 517 Silver of Order, they are really hidden. With a thought in Fang Xian's mind, a lot of data appeared in front of his eyes, but now, extraordinary people are losing a lot. On Marble Square, Mercury suddenly felt the square tremble again. Look! A member pointed to an edge around the white jade pillar, and 8 huge stone tablets suddenly appeared. On the steel, there are also words composed of ancient languages. Dreamland has been updated and the following functions are available. 1. Notarization of the contract. Members of both parties voluntarily sign the agreement and have it notarized in front of the supreme steel. Violators will be punished, including gods. 2. Physical transactions. Members of Dreamland can bring physical objects into the square for trading. Mercury looked at it, his face turned red with excitement. Of course he knew what that meant. With no worries, the transaction of Dream Township will inevitably usher in a big explosion. Moreover, you don't have to worry about buying fakes, because you can sign the contract in advance for notarization. Those clamoring to quit will definitely regret it. Mercury muttered to himself. Of course, he also has concerns about the changes in Dreamland, but there are not many. After all, he is just a little guy. Even if Crow really became the owner of Dreamland, such a great existence, even if he saw through his identity, he would not bother to use it. Moreover, he also has friendship with that lord. At this time, instead of hugging the thigh, but running away, what kind of foolish person would make the decision? A contract that even the gods can't break, the supreme agreement? The scientist came to the dreamland at some point and sighed softly. He knew that a big man was about to really rise. Although the opponent was originally at the level of a king, but now, he has stepped out of the restrictions of the transcendent tower in one step, surpassing most of the hidden existences in terms of influence and strength, and directly catching up with iron-blooded Lord and Mother of the Styx god. Very good. The attrition situation has stabilized, and there is still a small rebound. In the throne room, Fang Xian nodded with satisfaction. Suddenly, his eyes were deep and he glanced at all the members. Whether it was a gift from Dreamland or their own disguise, they were all clearly visible at this time, allowing him to see the true faces of extraordinary people. It's a pity that Fang Xian doesn't know much about the information in the mysterious world, otherwise he would definitely recognize the images of many important people, and then call out their names and positions. This is also a huge fortune, and it is my capital to influence the world. Fang Xian chuckled, sat on the throne, and tapped the armrest lightly. In the empty hall, figures emerged one after another, being forcibly summoned. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 301. Scientists, craftsmen, wisdom, dancers, the Golden King who are still in the dreamland are all here. In addition, Pocket Watch, Mercury, and even Dawn, Doctor, and a few randomly selected transcendents were also among them. They were at a loss when they heard a loud voice coming from above. I am Crow. I have become the owner of Dreamland. Wisdom and the others suddenly fell silent. Moreover, there was no attempt to join forces to attack or something, that would be an idiot's behavior. The other party has fully mastered this artifact, so they can definitely be wiped out easily. The Crow at this time can be regarded as a god. The reason why I summoned you here is to tell you, Dreamland will be better. Other than that, everything is business as usual. I will not force you. Of course, occasionally some tasks may be released, you have the right to refuse, and the freedom to leave the dreamland. This is also Fang Xian's purpose, to appease these strong men. We are willing to abide by your decision, great lord. The scientist took the lead and came out to salute. Kings bowed one after another, even wisdom and craftsmen were no exception. Then, business as usual. With a wave of his hand, Fang Xian dismissed most of the people, leaving only a few familiar transcendents. Your Excellency Crow, do you have any orders? Mercury looked at Chen 11 and Doctor next to him, and asked a little excitedly. But he didn't notice that Fang Xian looked at him with a slightly strange expression. After peeling off the disguise, Mercury is a young vampire with platinum curly hair and scarlet pupils. Especially the breath, there is some familiarity. Fang Xian thought for a while. He found the source, and slapped Chuiyan on the head. Snapped. The vampire immediately lay down on the ground and cried out aggrievedly, "Who hit me?" "It's me." Fang Xian coughed, "Do you have any objections?" "No. No." Mercury stood up very aggrieved and answered, not knowing why this boss wanted to beat him suddenly. "What else do you want, Your Excellency?" Mr. Pocket Watch glanced at Mercury, guessing whether he had other relations with this lord, and asked again. "First, to promote my philosophy, Dreamland will only be better. Other than that, everything remains the same. Second, I need some people to help me do things." Fang Xian chuckled and said in a calm tone. "I don't know what it is." The Pocket Watch was somewhat looking forward to, but also a little apprehensive. After all, it was a task at the level of the gods, and the difficulty can be imagined. Chen 11, Doctor and others also held their breath and listened expectantly. "I have a dream. I hope that there will be no wars in the old continent," Fang Xian said. His first step to influence the world, The cooperation between countries was very good before, we need to deepen it, promote it from all aspects. Our ultimate goal is to let the top beings of various countries sit down together, negotiate a formal agreement, and engrave it on the supreme stone. From then on, we will work together to open up colonies and new worlds, which is very important to our world, is of great benefit. It is also because of this that maybe he can still get the preferential treatment of fate. Fang Xian continued, I know this dream is very difficult, and it may take a long time, but it doesn't matter, we all have enough time to wait. The meaning of this existence is that he will support us to become a silver or even a gold level transcendent. Ms. Chen 11 said softly, Your Excellency's dream is also my wish, and I will definitely try my best to realize it. Actually, this is not impossible. All countries have realized that colonization is the real hope for the future. It is also of great benefit to our world, but they still don't trust each other. Mr. Pocket Watch said, if there is a strong enough intermediary witness, signing a contract with sufficient force, is still possible. That's what I think too. Fang Xian nodded. Once this step can be completed, even if the job transfer task is not carried out, it will be a matter of course to break through the gold. Even, they may still get the favor of the world, breaking through the 6th level is not a dream. Besides, the casualties of opening up the secret realm are too great. The doctor raised another problem, after all, most of the secret realms are environments of absolute magic. I can solve this problem. Fang Xian checked his authority, I can open up a large number of secret realms to form a void battlefield, there, all kinds of rules can be effectively played, but, the enemy probably will do the same. Dreamland can even release traversers from another world. This fusion secret realm is just a trivial matter. It's really, a great power. Pocket Watch exclaimed, I believe that the background of our world, there must be more strong people than other worlds. Then, it's decided. Fang Xian nodded. Great Your Excellency, Ms. Genexai suggested, we are a group of people gathered under your command to fight for one ideal and one goal. Should you give us a name for our organization? Shuiyan and the others nodded quickly, wanting to hug Fang Xian's thick thigh. Fang Xian looked at the group of people below. This is indeed the rudimentary form of an organization. He thought for a while, and said in a voice that didn't fluctuate at all, it's okay, I'll name it Dream Parliament. I'm the lifetime speaker. Parliament. Pocket Watch was a little surprised, and said with some admiration, your chest is as wide as the sea. This word originally meant that some members were equal, and it was obviously not an organization that this Your Excellency is arbitrary. He did not treat them as subordinates, which made the other party too kind and tolerant. I hope our organization can develop in a long-term and stable way, I allow you to be treated more equally, in the future, I may give you unimaginable rights and honors. Fang Xian waved his hand indifferently, and sent all the members of the Dream Council out of the throne hall. Looking at the empty hall, he sighed, fate, is really amazing, that vampire has the destiny to become a big shot in the future, taking him as a subordinate in advance is the choice to maximize the benefits. His figure disappeared for a moment and disappeared from the dreamland. The real world, the old continent, the kingdom of Sandberg. Fang Xian's figure emerged from the void, looking at the surrounding scenery with a smile on his lips. With the power of Dreamland, sending him around the world is just the most insignificant manifestation. The Lord of Reincarnation. Author, Wen Xiaogong. Chapter 302. Those who want to ambush me at the entrance of the Dream of Columbus secret realm will be disappointed. Fang Xian changed into a set of clothes in the local style of the Sembo kingdom, and wandered around the streets swaggeringly. After mastering Dreamland, I am the most unlockable existence in the world. This is not only relying on the teleportation ability of Dreamland, but also the feature of being immune to divination. Unfortunately, I am not strong enough to completely refine Dreamland. Fang Xian can clearly sense the location of the dreamland. It is not anywhere in this world, but it exists anywhere. It is located above the dreams of all living beings, which is very strange. The only trouble is, I can't move it by myself. And if you want to refine dreamland and turn it into a magic weapon, you need at least the strength above the top of the tower. In other words, it is above the 6th level of alchemist. I don't even have level 5 yet. The strength is too weak, so bad that you can't even move the magic weapon. While complaining, Fang Xian walked into the coffee shop on the corner of the street. Although this is the kingdom of Sandburg, it is not Worcestershire, but a city named Mad. With his current status, going back to have contact with the Roland family would only cause trouble for the other party. "Hello, sir, how many people?" a sweet waitress in black and white uniform asked while holding the menu. "One. Give me a quiet corner, and give me another cup of Black Forest." "Okay, please follow me." The maid took Fang Xian to a corner. At this time, there was no one in the coffee shop. Fang Xian sat in the corner, with no sense of presence. After the coffee was served, he slid his fingers unconsciously on the table while drinking the coffee. "Next, my goal. It's breaking through the 5th step. On the one hand, it is necessary to deduce the 5th level content of the alchemist, and on the other hand, according to the rules of this world, it needs the permission of fate, that is, the degree of world interference. Specific missions are useless, the 5th step of the warlock is not my choice, then there is only one way left, which is to make a big deal. In fact, spreading the faith is good. Although it is mild, the effect is very good. Besides that, it is my country's joint development of a different world, the Void Battlefield Plan. If everything is completed, there will be no difficulty in advancing to the 5th step. The key to a true alliance between the countries is to get the 3 major powers of the Narnia's Empire, the Kingdom of Sinberg, and the Silver Eagle Federation. Real ruler. The rulers of the Empire of Narnia are not royalty at all, but 2 true gods. In the Commonwealth of Silver and the Kingdom of Sandburg, the Tower of the Wisdom Sage and the Temple of Immortality have great influence. They all belong to the extraordinary side. After all, only those who possess power can master real power. If you start from the interests, I believe this plan is feasible. They only need to negotiate a result and use the Supreme Agreement as a notarization. Then, shall we visit one by one next? The Tower of the Wisdom Sage is a multinational organization, and the headquarters is hard to say, it's too scattered. The Immortal Temple has only one main hall. Thinking of this, Fang Xian tapped on the table. Without a sound, his figure suddenly disappeared. The waitress came over, only seeing the small coins left on the table. The guest had already left without a trace. The headquarters of the Immortal Temple is located in the Holy Fist Mountain. This large-scale extraordinary organization spans many countries and has a large number of mercenaries and security companies under its jurisdiction. It has the nature of an ancient mercenary and adventurers' union. Among them, most of them are mystics on the physical side. They call the realm above the king immortals, and they aim to pursue immortality. There are even rumors that the original Temple of Immortality was built by a group of immortals. They are still active in the world so far, but only by opening the door of immortality can they enter the real hall of immortality and see them. Hoo! The wind howled. Fang Xian raised his head, and saw a towering, tall, snow-capped giant mountain. Layer after layer of buildings meanders up the mountain, layer upon layer, which is very spectacular. The top of the Holy Fist Mountain is the Temple of Immortality, immortal. Although it is called immortal, it has no limit of longevity and will not die of old age, but if you change the world or encounter external forces, you will still die. This concept is somewhat similar to the refinement of primordial spirit in the fairy world. It is also longevity, not eternal life. Moreover, limited by the world, once the world does not support it, you will be caught blind immediately. However, I heard that there have been no real immortals born in the immortal temple for many years. At most, it is a few kings discussing things together. Although he was only silver, Fang Xian really didn't put a few golden kings in his eyes. He put on a beak-shaped mask, stepped out, and the figure disappeared instantly. When it reappeared, it had already arrived in a marble palace. In the garden, a hot spring flows quietly, surrounded by vibrant green. A white man in a white robe with one shoulder exposed was reclining on his seat. When he saw Fang Xian coming, his expression changed suddenly. "Your Excellency Crow." One of the principals of the immortal temple, the king of the gold rank, His Excellency Iron Fist Ashlow. Fang Xian looked at the man whose face was like a marble sculpture, with a slight smile in his voice. Undoubtedly, this Tekken Asilu is also a member of Dreamland. But now, after a simple investigation, the true identities of these members have been known to him, and they are a huge potential force. Asil stared at the crow, no longer in his previous leisurely state. This ancient Greek war god-like man was already full of turmoil in his heart. How did he get here through the outer layers of barriers? No. For the owner of Dreamland, this is quite normal. I can feel the aura of a real ancient in him, somewhat similar to the immortal temple, an immortal. However, isn't the land of dreams exclusive to kings, or was he a breakthrough after he mastered Dreamland? Why, I feel that he is not strong again, this kind of contradictory feeling. Asilu's expression kept changing. Guessing what he was thinking, Fang Xian chuckled and snapped his fingers. Snapped. All around, a layer of blurred and illusory dreams emerged, forming the extreme demon realm. Feeling the rapid weakening of the mysterious power in his body, Asilu knelt down very sincerely. "Your Excellency Crow, I have no ill intentions towards you. I believe in you." Fang Xian found a seat and sat down, picked the fruit next to him and put it into his mouth. "I am here this time to reach some intentions with the Temple of Immortality. Before that, we can communicate a little intelligence."